What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into Jets Media, presented by Prize Picks. We're live here on a Thursday evening, talking things Jets, because I put all my focus on the Knicks and their finals run, but there's some Jets news that I want to talk about here on Jets Media. So do me a solid favor, smash that like button on your way in. OTAs is well underway for these New York Jets, and it's our time to talk about everything regarding the Jets. It's kind of hard to shift into the Knicks back into the Jets. That's because the Jets are in the offseason mode, and my Knicks are 3 wins away from being champions. I'm serious, bro. This Knicks run is making me more confident in the Jets. Just because I remember how down bad the Knicks were. If you're a Jets fan right now, looking into an abyss of hopelessness, thinking, when will the Jets ever be good? I know it's a different sport, but the Knicks is making me confident that it is possible. Because there was a time when it felt the same way with the Knicks, that it's impossible for them to ever be good. But now here we are. But this show won't be about the Knicks. It'll be about the Jets and the latest news coming out of OTAs and everything around the NFL that correlates with the New York Jets. So let's do that. Let's get into it. Let's have some fun. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button on your way into the show if you did not already. Greatly appreciate that. Greatly appreciate that. If you guys want to watch Game 2 of the NBA Finals with me, you could tomorrow. Some details coming soon. I'm going to be doing a live watch party for the NBA Finals at a sports bar, and I'm going to be live streaming it as well. So stay on the lookout. Stay on the lookout for that. We got Eric's in the chat. Bubba's in the chat. Daughter Economy in the chat. Georgie, what's good? Eric, Theo, appreciate everybody tuning in to this edition of Jets Media, baby. So let's get right into it. Why don't we? Why don't we get into it, baby? All right. The New York Jets, they may have just got a huge dose of good news, finally. And it has everything to do with the Jets' schedule, because there's a lot of stuff going on around the NFL that doesn't necessarily have any impact on the Jets, but it does, because the Jets are facing against these teams. So it does have an impact on the New York Jets. Their schedule early on in the season is a little bit more easy now after all the trades that's going on around the NFL. After June 1st, a lot of things happen around the NFL. Trades, signings, cuts, and we've seen a lot of things happen in this past week in the NFL. Myles Garrett getting traded to the LA Rams was blockbuster stuff. We already talked about the news of A.J. Brown getting traded to the division. Nah, not really scared about that, to be honest. But hey, you never know what that's going to do to the New England Patriots. But I'm curious to get your thoughts about the topic we are going to get into here on Jets Media, presented by Prize Picks. So make sure you guys hit that like button on your way into the show. And without further ado, let's get straight into business. Now, I want to give a huge shout out to Jet X Factor and my main man, Michael Mania. He wrote a beautiful article that you guys should definitely go check out yourself if you did not already, highlighting that there's something that Jets fans should know. Because after the big-time trade, also another piece of news about Micah Parsons that can directly impact the New York Jets. So shout out to Michael Mania for this article. We're going to break down what he had to say about how this does have a big impact on the New York Jets coming up here. Because the New York Jets are facing off against the Green Bay Packers in their home opener week 2. And they're facing off against the Cleveland Browns, the team that just traded away Myles Garrett in week 5. So stay tuned for that. And speaking of the first 2 home games, Jets Media Day announcements coming early next week. It's looking like it's going to be the Cleveland Browns game, baby. If you guys want to come through to week 5, the second home game of the season with your boy, click the link in the description to sign up for the priority list so you get access to pre-sale tickets. That's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait to host you guys for another Jets Media Day event, baby. Let's do it. It's going to be so much freaking fun. I am excited about it. Want to give a huge shout out to our friends over at Prize Picks, folks. Prize Picks is your go-to for betting on the NBA Finals, also all things NFL. Futures. They already have future bets on their website. Go check them out using the code HMA. You guys can click the link at the top of the description, play with $5, get $50 instantly in your lineups, and you can bet on NFL lines right now. They have Jets lines that are active. They got Geno Smith line right here of his Tennessee Titans game coming up in week number 1. Still a long way to go, but if you guys want to go check out Prize Picks, please do me a favor and bet responsibly as always. But if you guys want, it's legal in New York and a bunch of states nationwide. So click the link at the top of the description and sign up for Prize Picks today if you have not already. Now, let's get back into the video. So we know that Myles Garrett getting traded away out of the AFC is positive because now the Jets don't have to worry about Myles Garrett this season. The Jets were taking on the Cleveland Browns this year, and that game is going to be the game we're going to, folks. Jets officially, potentially, Jets Media Day 2026, which is going to be absurd. If you guys want to come through, tickets on sale soon. But I'm excited for that game for a lot of different reasons. Week 5 has a good omen for Jets Media Day history. That was the first time we've ever done Jets Media Day. It was a Week 5 game in 2022 against the Dolphins, and the Jets smacked them 40-17. It was a beautifully sunny day, but I digress. No more Myles Garrett to worry about. No more Myles Garrett to worry about earlier on in the season. But there's another player that you don't have to worry about. Micah Parsons of the Green Bay Packers is not expected to return to action with the Green Bay Packers until later on in the season. The Jets are taking on the Packers in Week 2 of this upcoming season. So the Jets, when you first look at the schedule, you're like, first 2 home games, Olu and Armand Membu is going to have to go against Micah Parsons and then Myles Garrett, arguably the 2 best pass rushers in the game. Not anymore. Micah Parsons will be not playing in that game right now, it seems. And then Jared Verse, he's definitely a very good player. It's not like the Jets are not going to be able, the Jets are not going up against anybody to be worried about Week 5, but give me Jared Verse over Myles Garrett as an opponent any day of the week. Even though I will say last year, our rookie right tackle, Armand Membu, he held his ground against Myles Garrett last year. He held his ground against TJ Watt, all the great pass rushers. And I'm really excited to see what he looks like this upcoming season. But I think that the trade of Myles Garrett to the LA Rams not only is massive for the NFL, but it is huge for the New York Jets since they don't have to go up against him. Do you guys agree or disagree with that? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because in a matter of 3 days, all of a sudden, 2 players that you have to worry about is no longer going to be the case. Now, you look at the schedule for the Jets. They got to get off to a fast start this season. There's no doubt about it. Even though I will be very consistent, if the Jets do not start off the season hot, I am not going to be complaining because I understand that it's a long 17-game season and I want to give them their opportunity. But I also know that it's going to be loud. And with the Knicks' success, it shows you that there is a chance in New York for some positive energy. You have the New York Giants, who are kind of looking like they're a step ahead of the Jets. They got an established head coach in Harbaugh. They got a young franchise quarterback who's, we don't know if he is yet. He's still got to prove himself, in my opinion, Jackson Dart. Are the Giants going to be relevant? But when it comes to this Jets football team coming up, you have Geno Smith, who is playing particularly well so far in OTAs, not lighting it up or anything, but I think I've been impressed so far with what I'm hearing from his teammates in press conferences. Garrett Wilson was on the Jets official podcast with Eric Allen and Quincy Enunwa. He had really good, insightful comments about Geno Smith, that he's just a down-to-earth dude, understands ball. Like, he's blew away his expectations. Garrett Wilson mentioned that when the Jets originally got Geno, he called up JSN, because JSN was teammates with Geno, and JSN was raving about Geno Smith to Garrett Wilson, and Garrett had a lot of high expectations about Geno, and then when he met Geno in person, it blew those expectations out of the water for Garrett. And that's because they speak the same language, and this is what Garrett Wilson said, basically, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but Garrett was saying that the ability to Geno Smith to process this offense that Frank Reich is implementing and already understand it to the point where he can teach the young guys the system. It's like he's been in this system for his whole career. That's how much it's been. And you hear Garrett Wilson talk about Geno Smith, you can just tell right away. And I know it's not a big bar to pass, but you can tell right away, based off what Garrett Wilson's saying, that he throws a catchable ball. It's friendly for the receiver. The offense that Frank Reich is running is empowering the players. It is a night and day difference already, folks, from last year to this year from an offensive standpoint. Justin Fields did not have that same presence in the locker room and in these meetings with the offense as the quarterback because he had no confidence in himself. Geno Smith got so much confidence in himself, and that's the one thing about Geno that I really do love, because if you don't got confidence in yourself, you'll never be great. Connecting this to the New York Knicks, what makes the Knicks so special is their undying confidence in themselves and each other. Jalen Brunson always gets asked, how are you so good in the clutch? Like, what is it? What are you leaning on? It's his confidence, man. Like, he understands the work that he put in throughout his entire life was for these moments. He never wavers when the pressure gets high. And I think that Geno Smith, he's bringing this calm to the offensive side of the ball at the quarterback position that feels like it's a little bit more stable now, where you go from a young guy in Justin Fields who is trying to establish himself in this league still, who is not proven to be a starter in the league, first-round pick bust, got traded away from the team that drafted him, Chicago, got very small sample size with the Steelers and got benched for Russell Wilson, had small success in 6 games, and now he's being asked to be successful with the New York Jets with a brand new coach. Justin Fields was not really set up to succeed, but I don't think him individually was built for it because he's not established. Geno Smith is established. He's not coming to the Jets to try to develop his game as a quarterback. He's an established veteran quarterback, and I think that is extremely valuable, and hearing Garrett Wilson say these things definitely gets me fired up as a Jets fan, and I think that connects to the fast start that we're alluding to in this main topic of the video of having good news of this schedule being a little bit more easy early on. The Tennessee Titans week 1, that's a winnable game against the Green Bay Packers. Can you steal that home game against Green Bay? And then you got to worry about Detroit and Chicago and then Cleveland. So the first 5 games, it's not going to be easy going up against 3 NFC North teams, by the way, back to back to back. But I think that Aaron Glenn having a year of experience underneath his belt, he understands, he knows what to expect. Now leaning on an experienced offensive coordinator in Frank Reich instead of having Tanner Engstrand trying to figure out how to call plays for the first time. Like, it was just a mess last year. And who knows, it could be a mess all over again this season. But hearing what Demario Davis is saying in the press conferences, listening to Geno Smith's words, Harrison Phillips had something very big to say that I absolutely loved. Harrison Phillips talked about Demario Davis's leadership ability, and he was just raving about him. The fact that Harrison Phillips was the leader last year, and then they bring in Demario, who's even older than Harrison Phillips, is wild to me, just from the standpoint of the levels of the leadership, right? So there's a lot of reasons to be hopeful. I don't think that hopeful translates to the Jets going on a deep playoff run, right? As a Knicks fan, I'm starving for the Jets now to do that. But it's just my timeline for the Jets as a fan, being realistic, is showing signs of improvement this upcoming season and 2027 going to the playoffs. That's kind of my timeline. Would it be better if the Jets went to the playoffs this season? Yeah, it would be, obviously. Is it possible? It is possible. But the Jets have a 15-year playoff drought that they're holding on to. That's going to be really hard to get that monkey off the back. So I think this is relatively good news, in my opinion. Do you guys agree with that or not? Let me know in the comment section if you agree this is good or bad news, or it's really anything to really talk about, that the Jets' early on schedule is just a little bit more easy without Myles Garrett and without Mike Parsons to worry about. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I really do appreciate you guys tuning into this edition of Jets Media. As always, let's go Jets. Let's go. Bob says, can't we fire Glenn and hire Tomlin? I'm kidding. Can't get enough of these guys. Let's go, man. What up, Salik? What's going on, man? Yes, but there's a difference. Richie, the head coach, isn't a buffoon like Aaron Glenn is. Glenn is a buffoon who couldn't coach his way out of a wet paper bag. Jets fans never change, man. I love you guys. Hey, man, listen, the Jets fan base is never going to believe in anything to do with this team until given a reason to. Until proven otherwise, basically. Feel me? Until proven otherwise. Feel me? That's what I want to know. Speaking of Aaron Glenn, the Aaron Glenn scheme has been revealed. I have something to show you guys because Aaron Glenn is now officially calling plays for the Jets on defense, way more hands-on. Last year, it was not his responsibility to call the plays. It was Steve Wilks. He took on the CEO type of role. Aaron Glenn was the guy that was coaching up the defense, the offense, the special teams, and he'll still be doing that again this year. But I have new information about what the New York Jets should expect with Aaron Glenn officially calling the plays. And he said something extremely interesting that I think that Jets fans should hear from. It was actually from a new Jet player, Minkah Fitzpatrick, by the way, who says something very interesting that kind of opens up the door of the type of coach we can expect from Aaron Glenn this upcoming season and what his overall expectations are as a head coach, what his goals are with his defense. So welcome on into Jets Media, presented by Prize Picks. I'm excited to give you guys my thoughts of this and much more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about Aaron Glenn and what's your expectations entering the offseason. Well, going into training camp, I'm very curious to see who wins in these training camp battles. Frank Reich is apparently extremely competitive as an offensive coach. You know that he's going to try to beat Aaron Glenn's defense every single time. And then the same thing goes with AG. He's really going to try to win those battles. I cannot wait to be at training camp. It's one of my favorite times of the year. Make the jokes right themselves. Yeah, Richie, because the Jets suck in the season. That's why it's your favorite. Yeah, I don't want it to be my favorite. I want to be happy as a Jets fan in December and January watching them play in the freaking playoffs. Sorry, I don't have any control of it, but I digress. Aaron Glenn's defense apparently is all about putting quarterbacks in a blender. According to Minkah Fitzpatrick, which is a quote that he said himself that I'm excited to highlight here on Jets Media. So let's get into it. I think that Minkah Fitzpatrick does bring up a very interesting point. And, this is low-key one of those players on this Jets team that a lot of people are forgetting about. Because the Jets added so many new pieces, and he's already looking pretty good in his Jets colors. I like the way Minkah looks, right? If you guys don't know, you go to the Jets website. They got all the great photos of OTAs. There's Garrett Wilson coaching up the rookies. Absolutely love that. But there's this one pick, and here's Minkah Fitzpatrick. First time really seeing him rocking the 29, the veteran presence. And he had a quote that I wanted to highlight in this video about Aaron Glenn, right? So this is on Empire Sports Media. The Jets got the kind of quote every defensive coordinator wants attached to his scheme, okay? This is interesting. Minkah Fitzpatrick described the main part of Aaron Glenn's defense as putting the quarterback in a blender. All right, that's what we want. Pointing to skies, pressure, and forcing mistakes. It is a clean identity phrase, and it lands because the Jets are clearly trying to build a defense that feels less go. So let's just stop there. What does that even mean? Putting the quarterback in a blender. Well, pretty much the opposite of what happened last year. Absolutely opposite. Last year, the Jets ran a defense that was the most predictable of all time. Offenses lined up against the Jets defense, and they knew exactly what coverage they were in, and they knew exactly how to beat it. They knew they just got to run this route, run this concept. They can't beat it. And it was so annoying to watch as a Jets fan last year. But now that Steve Wilks is gone, AG's taking on play calling duties. Now we get an idea of what the scheme is trying to look like. And Minkah Fitzpatrick, who's been in a lot of schemes before, he says that putting the quarterback in a blender is what Aaron Glenn is all about. Now you look at what AG did in his time with Detroit. That's what he was known for. When you have a scheme that is clicking on all cylinders, number one, it starts with communication on the field, getting everybody on the same page from the back end to the front end to the middle. And I think that was another big issue was the lack of communication on the field, right? Starts there. But then disguising looks. If you're a really good defense, you're showing something, knowing that the quarterback and the offense is going to think they know what's coming. And then post-snap, you bail into a completely different look. You show blitz, the quarterback thinks there's a blitz coming, but then they drop back, and all of a sudden the blitz comes from the other side, and then it gets a really big turnover or something like that. This Jets defense needs to become one of those defenses that takes the ball away, that creates plays, a playmaking defense. Is that too much to ask? Yeah, maybe. As a Jets fan, last year was the most ugliest thing I've seen. And I like that Aaron Glenn is way more hands-on with his defense this year because he has to be. He was brought here to be the Jets head coach with a defensive mind. And you're seeing a lot of people around the NFL who have defensive-minded backgrounds coming into being a head coach and starting to call plays as a defensive-minded head coach. Robert Saleh's doing that this year with the Titans, something he did not do with the Jets, right? Jesse Minter, brand new head coach for the Ravens, defensive mind, he's calling plays for the Ravens. So it's becoming a trend. You look at McDonald with the Seattle Seahawks, he called plays as a defensive-minded head coach, and he won a Super Bowl. So you need to have a defense that is opportunistic, that can disguise and create mismatches, create pressures, right? Forcing mistakes. And the way you do that is you get inside the quarterback's head. That's what he's talking about, okay? Let's get deeper into the article. He says, Glenn said that defense was working third and long situations during Monday's OTA practice, the type of period where the defense should start flipping the advantage back from the offense. Demario Davis did exactly that, intercepting a Geno Smith on a 3rd and 8 rep. We got an interception, baby. Shout out to Demario Davis for getting the pick, baby. Listen, when you are a defense coming off a season with 0 freaking interceptions, it's the most laughable, disgusting, just embarrassing thing you can imagine, right? The way that you create turnovers as a defense is, like I just said, you have to force an offense to make mistakes. And the way you do that is by disguising and studying the film and having a game plan that is executed in unison, establishing a culture, a set standard, right? It's not just about personnel. It's not just about talent. It's about culture. And I know I keep comparing basketball to football and the Knicks to the Jets, and I'm sure some people are getting tired of it, but I really just can't stop doing it because you look at the Knicks defense, they are so freaking good. I know basketball defense is way different than football, but what makes the Knicks so freaking dynamic on their defensive side of the ball is their communication and them being on the same page at all times. You watch a Knicks game, you see everybody pointing, barking at each other, switching when you have to. From a football standpoint, pre-snap, you have to communicate. And I remember when Jarvis Brownlee got traded to the Jets last year in the middle of the season, I'll never forget this. He came here, and after his first game, I remember in an interview, he's like, we got to be communicating better. And I value that because that's somebody that has no experience as being a Jet, was not with the Jets during training camp, was not with the Jets starting off the season. He comes here, he plays one game, and by the way, he forced the first turnover, Jarvis Brownlee, of the season. And the first thing he notices is the lack of communication. And I cannot stress enough how bad that is. Because when you are a defense and one guy thinks it's this call, the other guy thinks it's that call, and you wonder why defenses were just throwing to wide open receivers all day long last year against this Jets' terrible defense. Started there. So I think having Minkah Fitzpatrick in the back end, have that veteran presence as a deep safety, having Demario Davis in the middle, holding it down as that vocal leader. I love Jamian Sherwood, but I think it's time to realize he's not C.J. Mosley. He's not Demario Davis. Maybe Jamian Sherwood is better with a guy like C.J. next to him. That's when he broke out. I know when C.J. went down, Jamian really broke out, and that's when the Jets extended him. But maybe Jamian Sherwood's going to be a lot better with Demario Davis next to him, wearing the green dot, slow things down. And you have a lot of veterans on this defensive line. David Onyemata, Harrison Phillips. So I think the overall scheme of putting the quarterback in a blender is going to come together this season. And then you mix in the personnel that the New York Jets added to this defense. David Bailey can scream off the edge, create pressure. Will McDonald as well. Interior pressure from Jawan Briggs and company. Tavondre Sweat, who's a big boy, interior. Darnell Jack, I can keep going. And then I think the big battle to watch at the corner position is going to be Nashawn Wright and Azareye'h Thomas. Also, D'Angelo Pons and Jarvis Brownlee. I think it's going to be a very intriguing competition to watch all throughout camp. Now, in OTAs, you're kind of seeing Nashawn Wright be the starting corner early on. So I think that the Jets are doing a relatively good job to mix things up and make sure that they create competition, because when competition happens, that's when you get the most out of these players. So I think that creating turnovers is going to be the biggest priority imaginable this upcoming season. And I love the additions of this Jets team on that defensive side of the ball to really create those turnovers, create opportunities. Because if you're a defense that can flip the field, bro, like, they need to give this offense some opportunities with good field position. Do you have any idea how many times last year that the defense was on the field? It felt like all game long, and then the offense goes back on the field, and it's a 3-and-out, and then the defense is back on the field. Like, the time of possession was just absolutely... Last year was a mess, and that starts with AG. And now that he's going to be the defensive-minded guy, he's got to make sure that he's hands-on and he gets this defense ready to go, because there's no way you can be a bottom-tier defense again, especially now if you're the head coach calling the plays. So that's my thoughts. I think that the scheme of him putting the quarterback in a blender is a very intriguing concept that Minkah Fitzpatrick brought to the surface. So, of course, we have to talk about it here on Jets Media. Let me know your thoughts about everything we mentioned here on the channel. Love to hear what you have to say down below in the comments. Love you guys as always, and let's freaking go Jets. My holy king, Jets, Jets, Jets. Greg, let's effing go Jets. Oh, yeah. How we feeling, chat? Another piece of news I forgot to get into. I haven't been able to talk about this one yet. What is happening with the New York Jets kicking situation, bro? I can't even keep up with it. I really can't. They signed Younghoe Koo. Okay, maybe. Nope, he's already waived. Oh, my goodness. So we got to talk about what's going on with these Jets kickers, because Koo is already gone. They bring in a new kicker, Jason Sanders, to compete with Cade York. They don't have Lenny Krieg anymore. Nick Folk, they decided not to resign. This Jets special teams unit better not have a kicking problem, because that's one of those frustrating things you can have as a football fan, is when you don't have a good kicker, because that's the one position that can actually lose you a football game. It really can. Your offense can march down the field in a 2-point game and have a chance to win it with a field goal with 2 seconds left. You're in field goal range and a shank. You lose the game. All I needed is that kick, and you would have won. We all know what bad kicking can do to a football team. So welcome on into Jets Media, presented by Prize Picks. I want to take a deep dive into this special team side of the ball, because it's a very intriguing piece, in my opinion. And I just don't understand why the Jets did not re-sign Nick Folk. I know some people say it's his age. They don't trust his leg. They feel like it's, I don't know, man, give him the extra $500,000. If it's a money problem, the Jets they're littered with money. How do you let Nick Folk, who had such a terrific season and part of a fantastic special teams unit, walk in free agency? I don't understand that. Now, the pressure's on. The Jets found a gem in Austin McNamara at punter last year, and hopefully he can replicate that again this season. But now they got Cade York, and they signed, I believe his name is Jason Sanders, who was with the Miami Dolphins most recently, if I'm not mistaken. This is a guy that, listen, I don't know. The fact that they already got rid of Younghoe Koo, I feel bad for that dude. I'm not going to lie. Sanders missed the 2025 season due to a hip injury. He signed with the crosstown rival Giants in March and then was released literally this week. He was a 7th-round pick from Miami in 2018. The New Mexico product ranked number 3 in Dolphins franchise history. His 85% field goal percentage is the highest. So there's some positive energy here, I guess, if you want to go down that direction. Do you guys think there's a world where this man makes the team as the Jets starting kicker? I think it's going to be between him and Cade York. No doubt about it. If you'd ask me, I think there's a chance that he even makes this team as the starting kicker. I don't trust Cade York. And his 221 field goals are second to only, wow. In 2024, Sanders established a new team mark with 27 consecutive made field goal attempts, and he is connected on an NFL high 9 consecutive field goals from 50 plus. That's big. He was named a first-team All-Pro in 2020. Sanders set a Dolphins season record with a 92-plus field goal percentage, 36 of 39. So there's a lot to be excited about. And then you look at Younghoe Koo. He came into OTAs and he stunk so fast. He stunk. Like, how do you get cut that fast, brother? I like the idea of bringing in Sanders. You know, he got cut by the Giants, so maybe he's just not good anymore. But at 30 years of age, obviously, we know that Sanders is at the age that you can still be successful in this league. Nick Folk proved that last year as a 40-plus-year-old. You can still be successful. I just want the Jets to find a franchise kicker. I'd rather have a franchise quarterback. I get it. But I'm sick of this carousel at this position. It's so freaking important. Everything about this special teams side of the ball, I do got confidence in because, like I mentioned, Austin McNamara has been a stud. I like the gunners on the punt team. I like the punt returners in Isaiah Williams and Kene Nwangwu. But when it comes to kicking, Cade York we've talked about, but now there's a brand new Jet, and that's Jason Sanders. If he can rekindle that magic he had a few years ago in Miami, there is experience there. A full year off with a hip injury as a kicker does not make me feel good. Obviously, there's rust. He's got to work that out. But I do think that the Jets officially have two guys they will be looking at in this entire training camp period of competing for the starting kicking job. It's going to be between Cade York and Jason Sanders. Let me know in the comments right now, who do you predict winning this battle between Cade York and Mr. Jason Sanders? It's just worrying about the kicking position drives me and every Jets fan mad. I remember we had our kicker, Jason Myers. He's right there. We let him walk. And now I believe he's still the kicker for the Seahawks, won a Super Bowl. It's like you have the kicker, you let him walk. You had Nick Folk. What are we doing? What are we doing? Another element to this thing I want to make sure we remind ourselves about is Mr. Chris Banjo, the Jets special teams coordinator. He is terrific. You talk about a coach that former player, recently. He looks like he could freaking play, by the way. He's in shape if I ever saw one for a coach. Chris Banjo is one of those guys that I feel like gives me confidence that anybody that is going to be plugged in at kicker will be successful. Anybody that's going to be plugged in as a returner is going to be successful. A gunner, a punt team, no matter where you are, I trust that this man right here will get the most out of these guys, squeezing potential out of them. That's what good coaches do. They establish a mindset. They establish a culture. And listen, I know that Jets fans may think to themselves, special teams, Richie's not important. You got to win on offense and defense. That's not true. The Jets literally beat the Browns last year because of their freaking special teams. They won a game because of it. 2 touchdowns from the return team, and they were terrific. That needs to continue. There's a big bar now, a high bar for the Jets to be able to exceed. And that was set by Mr. Chris Banjo himself. And if you're a team that can dominate field position with good punts, returning punts, good kick returns, good coverage on kick returns, executing on field goal attempts, blocking field goals like we saw last year, Will McDonald blocking the field goal and returning it for 6, there's real opportunities to flip games and win games like that. That's the one phase of the ball that if this Jets football team can stay consistent at, it can actually creep in to a winning football team. So I really do like what I've seen from this side of the ball. I know some Jets fans, again, don't value it, but you should. I know people probably hate hearing that, oh, well, the Jets won 3 games, but they had a good special teams last year. I know people are probably sick and tired of hearing that, but it really is true. The Jets have an opportunity to build off of a successful side of that ball, which is special teams. And I think that the kicking battle between Sanders and York, I don't expect that to change. I don't think that Sanders is going to get cut next week, or like Koo came in. You're like, all right, it's going to be Koo versus York, and then Koo's cut because he shanked a bunch of field goals in practice. Unless Sanders comes in and he looks absolutely trash right away. I don't know. But the Jets got to figure it out. My big thing is he got signed by the Giants, Sanders, I'm talking about, and he's coming from the Giants who had Harbaugh, who's a special team specialist. And Harbaugh did not like what he saw so much that he cut him a few days ago. So maybe there's a world where he comes to the Jets and he's just as bad, if not worse. Who knows? Let me know your thoughts in the comments about the Jets special teams kicking unit. Do you value this stuff? Do you not? Love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. Let's go Jets, baby. Mooj's biggest mistake so far was letting Folk get away. Hopefully it won't come back to haunt him. But, folks, we're going to wrap up the show here on Jets Media. Check me out tomorrow on Knicks Media Live. I'll be live from a sports bar. It's going to be epic. Knicks up 1-0. Jets OTAs still underway. I will see you guys later. Love you guys so much. I will see you in the next video. Peace and love.